What is up guys, this is Locke, YGO, and welcome back to the channel. And today guys, I'm bringing you my spell counters deck profile. That's right guys, this is one of Yugi's strategies that focuses on playing a heavy spellcaster deck that can amass spell counters, and then once we can get some spell counters on some of the important monsters, we take control of the game from there on out. And now we start, like always, with the skill, and it's Yami Yugi, and this skill is the ultimate wizardry. So guys, this skill is very straightforward, so once you activate this skill, you can place one spell counter on each of your monsters that can get a spell counter. Then, from there on out, once per turn during the main phase, you can place one spell counter on one of your monsters that can get a spell counter on him. And this is all for the skill. It's very basic, but it works wonderfully. And now guys, we move on into the main deck and we start with just one copy of Magical Marionette. This card gains 200 attack points for each spell counter on it. Then, you can remove two spell counters from this card and target one monster on the field and destroy it. We only need to play one copy of Magical Marionette because we have ways to bring it back into the field, therefore, since this is level 5 and is considered a brick, we can actually play just one copy. Moving on, we play triple copy of Breaker, the Magical Warrior, as a limited 3-off card. And guys, Breaker is insane. I don't know why is this card limited at 3 at the moment, to be honest. I don't think it deserves to be there anymore. The game has been power crept a lot, so this card I think it's not doing anything over there, but it's still a very good card, especially in this deck, because we can just normal summon him, get an effect to get a counter, then take out the counter, destroy a spell or trap your opponent controls, or we control. We can actually destroy our own spell or trap cards if we want to. It's not usually the case, but it might happen sometimes if we need to. And then after that, if we want to, we can use the skill, get back one more counter on him and just leave him at 1900 attack, or use its effect once again, because it's not once per turn, to destroy one more spell or trap your opponent might have. Moving on, we also play double copy of Kaiko the Ghost Destroyer. This card is insane because if it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can target up to 2 monsters in their graveyard and banish those targets. Then he has the very good added effect that your opponent cannot banish cards from either graveyard, and this is insane in my opinion, because this hard counters some decks, for example like the Fossil deck that needs to banish monsters from the graveyard in order to fusion summon with the skill. Moving on, we also play double Shosai, the Ghost Stopper. These are basically high attack spellcasters if you guys didn't notice yet, and they have like some bonus added effects that work very well in this deck. Even though they don't get any spell counters, because they're dark spellcasters, they're very good to play in this deck. So, if you guys didn't know, Shosai says that neither player can activate spell or traps in a graveyard. Also, once again, this kinda destroys fossils because they cannot use their time stream in a graveyard to banish one fusion alongside with that to bring back one other fusion from the graveyard. Also, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target one spell or trap in your opponent's graveyard and banish it. And even though that's not very common, it might come up in some situations and sometimes even win you games. Moving on, we play one copy of Maiden of Macabre, just as one more monster that can get some spell counters on it, because she gets really huge in attack if your opponent does not deal with her. And keep in mind guys, if a monster with spell counters is flipped face down, they do keep the spell counters from what I've read online. So guys, every time the Maiden of Macabre destroys a monster, she will get one spell counter. She will also gain 200 attack for each spell counter that she has on her. So basically, every turn you can actually just give her one spell counter with your skill, and she'll gain 200 each time, and if she gets to destroy a monster, she'll get another extra spell counter and 200 more attack. So during a grind game, if your opponent has no ways to deal with your monster, she will get very big if left unchecked for a long time, and it will be a huge beatstick eventually on your side of the field. Moving on, into the last monsters, we play double copy of Sphere Kuriboh just as a means to defend ourselves, since Sphere Kuriboh is basically a hand trap that we can discard and stop one of our opponent's attacks. And this is all for the monsters, and now we move on into the spells. And in the spells, we play one copy of Offerings to the Doomed, just as some removal for opponent's monsters, and speaking of removal, we also play one copy of Hammer Shot, because this deck has no very big monsters except for Maiden of Macabre full of counters and the Magical Marionette full of counters as well. So sometimes we have some problems dealing with very high attack monsters our opponent might have. Therefore, we play cards like this to get rid of their monsters, and it's a bonus if it's a spell, because the Magical Marionette will gain spell counters every time a spell is activated while this card is on your field. So that's a pretty good bonus. Moving on, we play triple copies of Night Beam, just some standard spell and trap removal, and guys, let me tell you, if I could, I'll be playing triple MST, but like I said in some other videos, I don't have enough MSTs, so I played Night Beams for the time being. But if you guys do have MSTs, feel free to switch them out, even though Night Beam is not much worse than the MST, it's just a little bit. Moving on, we also play double copies of Voldur of Darkness to round out the spells. to get us some extra draw power and find the cards that we need in our deck. And since our deck is entirely composed of dark monsters, this card is very good to play in here because we can just draw and banish any card that we don't need in our hand. This is all for the spells. And now we move on into the traps, and we start the traps with double copies of Woboku, just your standard defensive card against your very strong decks in the format, and double copies of Widespread Ruin, which does basically the same purpose of Woboku, which is to stop your opponent's monsters from destroying yours. And guys, we also play double copy of Dark Renewal. This is a very strong card and very strong removal if your opponent does not destroy it, and for those of you who don't know what Dark Renewal does, it basically says that if your opponent summons a monster while you control a spellcaster, you can tribute both your spellcaster and one of the monsters they summon, and then you can just special summon one dark spellcaster monster from your deck or graveyard into the field. And that's really strong in my opinion, because it basically gets rid of their normal summon and upgrades one of your spellcasters to a better one. And this is the reason why I only need to play one magical marionette, because if it gets sent to the graveyard by some reason, you can just bring it back with Dark Renewal if needed. And so guys, this is all for the main deck, and now we move on into the extra and side deck. And the extra is just some standard stuff, so Master of Oz, Thousand Eyes Restrict, Destiny and Dragoon, Cyber and Dragon, Ojama King and Cyber Blader, and you guys probably guessed it, I do play Waking Dragon in the side deck. And speaking of side deck, we now move into the side deck, and we play one copy of Hammer Shot, in case we wanna add one more into the main deck if it's a good card against your opponent's deck. And then we play double copy of Paleozoic Canadia, as this card is very good if we play a heavy trap deck, and we kinda do, so we play two on the side if we want to play a little bit more defensively. We also play one copy of Mind Crush, and guys, this is supposed to be the second copy of Waking Dragon, but I don't have enough Waking Dragons already. I have ordered more, but they haven't arrived yet. So, for the time being, I just play a generic card that fits in well enough as a just generic way to stop your opponent's plays as well. And, like I said, one Waking Dragon for the extra deck, and finally we play one Lost Twin, as this card is very good in this format still, and counters a lot of very strong decks that are present in this current format. So guys, this is all for the main deck, and now I'm gonna show you guys the entire main and side deck list if you guys wanna take a look and copy the list for yourselves. So guys, here is the entire main deck for you, in case you guys want to have a full list in front of you to copy it, or just have a general idea of what the deck looks like in its entirety. And here it is, the entire extra and side deck for you guys as well. So guys, if you guys wanna copy this deck and try it out for yourselves, please feel free to do so, because guys, if you guys copy the deck and sometimes try it out for yourself, you might find new ways in order to play the deck, new strategies, new decks that fit the deck better than the old versions, and basically that way we grow and improve the decks together as a community, and that's really what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is about. But yeah guys, this is it for the deck list. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and maybe subscribe to the channel if you enjoy my kind of content. And if you have a specific deck profile you guys want to see in the future for yourselves, feel free to comment down below what you want to see, as I read all of your comments and am more than happy to try my best and bring you guys the content you want, and ask for down below if it's possible for me to do so. But yeah guys, once again, I hope you guys enjoyed, and like always, this is LockYGO, and I'll see you on the next video. Out!